Hey, what's up, everybody? The VC here, coming back at you with another about anything and everything. Nothing's off the table. I'm just off the cuff. That's right. About anything and everything. Only thing that can stop me is YouTube holding me down. That's why I'm also on Rumble. All right, and that's what it's all about. Just sharing my thoughts on things I see going on and things I want to talk about. And so it's just been fascinating the way things have been going on, in the last few months, right? The change that's been going on across America, and you can really see the differences between liberal, progressive Democrat point of views versus the conservative point of view to the right. And you can really see there's a big distinguishing differences between the two, and that the separation of it in itself, you're starting to see the just far left progressive, they're corrupt. All they care about is self-serving. They are about themselves and so-called elites, but yet they deflect and say, oh, the conservatives are all about upper class and tax cuts and all that, but yet, taxing, I'm not taxing, but taxing people, right? And they only tax cut the wealthy and all that stuff, right? But then when you look at what is going on over in the far left, all they do is spin, 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 and have terrible priorities, and then they want to tax you for it, right? And it just goes on and on. It's just bad decision making, right? And I want to give you some examples of some things that have been going on here that I wanted to talk about, such as, let's see here, let's talk about this right here. All right, I'm going to jump on over to something I've been wanting to talk. Karen She's been not talked about in a little while, so let's see what's been going on with her lately here. All right, because I've been seeing some new stuff coming up on her, so let's see what's going on.
Bass is continuing to face criticism for her disgraceful conduct during the LA wildfire disaster last month. And in a bizarre turn of events, Bass is now playing the victim and launching an investigation into why she was allowed to travel away from the country despite warnings of imminent fires.
I'm going to go to Ghana, which I know you've said was a mistake now. But I just am curious on the thought process behind it.
Wait a second. She didn't think it was a mistake when she first went. Now she's saying, see how they backtrack? When shit hits the fan, they backtrack. And they'll still deflect. They're still going to blame someone else. So that's what Democrats always do anyways. They always blame other people. They will backtrack on certain things so they don't feel like they look bad, right? And then next thing you know, they'll just blame someone else, right? So she's going to say, oh, no, I regret going to Africa. I shouldn't have gone. And then she's going to say something else like someone else's fault.
Right. Because we know that there was warnings about the weather before you went, and you still went. What was the thought process behind going to Ghana?
So let me just tell you a couple of things. First of all, when the White House called and asked me if I would represent the president, I said yes. It was going to be a very, very short trip, over a weekend and 2 business days.
I don't even think Biden was in his right mind to even ask. Say, oh, would you represent the United States for us? It's like, well, of all people, like, doesn't the federal government have representation to go somewhere else, to represent? Why Karen Bass, right? Let me hear that again. That doesn't sound right to me. Let me hear that again. I'm going to backtrack this a little bit here, because that doesn't seem quite right at all.
Going to Ghana.
So let me just tell you a couple of things. First of all, when the White House called and asked me if I would represent the president, I said yes. It was going to be a very, very short trip.
The vice president could have done that, right? The vice president could have done that. If you wanted to have some sort of representation, right, in Ghana, I mean, there was plenty of other representation from the White House. I think she's full of shit. All right, look at that. See how, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing about Democrats too, is that they lie all the damn time. They lie all the time. I seriously doubt that the White House calls and says, hey, can you go represent for us? Come on. She's done several trips to Ghana, even though she promised that she would not travel during her mayoral position in L.A. And then, to sit there and be like, oh, the White House called and said, it would just be a short trip. Just get the fuck out of here, bitch. She needs to be recalled.
Over a weekend and 2 business days.
Fuck.
We need to look at everything about the preparation and all of that for the fires, because I think when we evaluate that, we will find that although there were warnings that I frankly wasn't aware of, although there were warnings, I think our preparation wasn't what it typically is, meaning that before there's a major weather event, for example, last week when we knew we were going to get into the rains,
right,
you saw us come together and us talk about, get your sandbags, bring the K-rails out.
Yeah, of course, now, after the fact, because you got to be on pins and needles, you got to be on your toes now. But during that time, you guys didn't give a fuck.
That type of preparation didn't happen.
Bitch.
If that had, I will tell you, Alex, I wouldn't have even gone to San Diego, let alone leave the country.
Fuck out of here. That stupid little smirk on her face all the time, man. And she was considered to be one of the front runners for vice president back in 2020. Can you believe that shit?
Convinced, though, pushing back and informing the mayor that the approaching fires were public knowledge.
But what do you mean there were warnings you weren't aware of? Because I know we were talking about it on the news. A lot of people were talking about the problems, warning that this was going to be a huge deal.
So when I talked about it with the fire chief, what she said is that we have warnings of Santa Ana winds a lot, but predicting this, and you saw, from the city, from the county, that level of preparation really didn't happen. So it didn't reach that level to me to say something terrible could happen.
Yeah, so now she's deflecting it towards, it sounds like towards the fire department, that they had conversations of, it's typical Santa Ana winds all the time, which is very typical in Southern California. And, the swirling winds and all that, high, gusty winds. Oh yeah, we have conversations, very typical stuff, but, the preparations and all that, that's really on them.
And maybe you shouldn't have gone on the trip.
Why didn't
But to me, I don't know.
Online commentators were in disbelief over Bass's blame game, with commentator Charlie Kirk saying, LA Mayor Karen Bass says she's really just a victim for being allowed to travel to Ghana when forecasts predicted massive Santa Ana winds that led to catastrophic fires. She says there will be an investigation as to why she was victimized. Unreal spin. This commentator agreed, saying, Mayor Karen Bass says no one told her not to go to Africa while LA burnt to a crisp in the wildfires. Lady, you are the mayor. And this commentator went further, slamming the mayor and calling her a liar. Karen Bass claimed she wasn't aware of any danger before leaving for her vacation in Ghana. This is a blatant lie. There were fire weather warnings the day before she left. Her own X page shared the alerts on the day they were aired. Karen Bass needs to resign immediately.
Her own X page.
Bass's suggestion that she somehow didn't have all the information is questionable, as even US President Donald Trump confirmed she had wide-ranging powers.
You have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because you have a very powerful emergency power, and you can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes.
The bizarre interview comes after Karen Bass struggled to defend her trip to Ghana in the early days of the LA fires.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor?
Okay.
Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position?
I like the insult straight in her face, and she still didn't answer to the insult. So that's That's pretty strong. I mean, I'll give her that because that was just straight in her face, talking about how incompetent you are in your face, and she didn't even react to that. I mean, that's a strong stance right there. I'll give her that part, but because it's just funny, and she didn't budge, But she's stupid. She's just a stupid ass bitch.
Madam Mayor, have you...
Definitely a DEI hire for sure. Because she's in over her head. She needs to step down or get pushed out from recall. But you guys are, you LA elites are a bunch of dummies anyways. You guys would still be like, but at the same time, I think it had to take these fires to burn down your houses on the shores of Malibu and the Palisades and all that to really hit home that maybe you have an incompetent leadership here and maybe they might actually push you out for a change. Bunch of rubes.
Absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster. No apology for them.
And whilst Karen Bass is blaming her incompetent response to the fires on other people, her supporters are blaming it on racism.
We have fires every year, and I don't remember in the 30 years almost that I've lived in LA, I've never seen everybody react like this to the mayor and blame one person for a natural disaster.
Yes.
I've never seen it. Now, what's different this time?
Oh, you had a bunch of homes that got burned down, dummies. I mean, a ton of them. What's different this time? Because there was no preparation for it. Dummies.
Interesting, isn't it?
You said that. Amen, sister.
Amen, sister. Fuck out of here, too. Bunch of rubes. Tell me what's different this time. Well, this time a shit ton of homes got burned down.
Mayor Bass last night had essentially said that the chief did not get her prepared for this fire. Well, just a few minutes ago, the LAFD responded to the mayor's allegation.
Yeah, we got to hear this. The fire chief responds to that.
Didn't know about the dangerous fire weather before leaving for Africa. Here's some of what they said. Quote, the LAFD followed our standard preparation procedures for the predicted extreme fire weather on January 7th. Additionally, public notifications and media advisories were made while the LAFD coordinated with other city departments and elected officials. We also utilized both traditional and social media, including a notification through Notify LA on X on January 6th, 2025. LAFD extreme fire danger with dangerous winds in LA mountains, foothills, and valleys Tuesday morning to Wednesday afternoon, in which the local elected officials are included on the distribution list. So we knew that, and the mayor, I don't think, was disputing that. The mayor's own X account put out information warning on January 6th. The mayor left several days before that.
Right, she was already in Ghana on January 6th.
I think some of her point was you didn't get to me several days before that, not necessarily on January 6th.
Well, news organizations like ourselves, we were putting the word out, and no doubt they watch us.
Right.
Local officials watch us, and us, I mean anybody in the media. Yeah. Local news matters.
And the National Weather Service was putting it out.
That.
Also we're in communication with as well. So that whole story has gotten a tremendous amount of attention today, of talk radio, cable news, national outlets all talking about this interview that we did last night with Mayor Bass. And we've got more of it. There's more clips that we have not aired yet that we're going to be airing tonight at 6:30, including her conversation about the LADWP, what happened there, how this fire was so personal, how her own brother lost a home. So all that coming up at 6:30.
All right, so that reveals sort of a strain between LAFD and the mayor. Well, there's this.
Yeah.
Text messages obtained by the Los Angeles Times expose tension between the mayor and LA County Supervisor Lindsay Horvath. Horvath represents Pacific Palisades. She's been leading the county's wildfire recovery effort. Well, 2 weeks after the wildfire started, Horvath texted Mayor Karen Bass expressing frustration with a splintered response from the city and county, saying this, quote, "You asked us to lay off the daily pressers. We did. We asked you to join us for this announcement tomorrow. No response. Now we hear you're doing one without us today when we are in lead role at your department's request. Doesn't feel very locked arms to me." Locked arms is a phrase often used by Mayor Bass. Well, today, Supervisor Horvath responded to that LA Times reporting.
Yeah, we have since discussed the subject of the text messages, and it's clear that we agree that the situation could have been handled better, and it needs to be handled better going forward. People want clear communication, they want clear answers, and they want us to coordinate, work together, and make sure that we are prioritizing their needs. So the mayor and I have had a conversation around that. We're clear, and it's time to focus on moving forward.
It sounds like a backtrack. She's, like she don't want to look like she's, attacking the mayor and all that. Get out of here too, bitch. All right, that sounds like a backtrack right there. So, yeah, this is all DEI bullshit, all right? DEI hires people in over their heads. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they all need to get the fuck out. This is simply put. I mean, that's just the easy way to say it here. But, yeah, so interesting stuff here, how the mayor is shifting blame. And then this text got out. All of a sudden, she backtracks because, it looks bad. It's a bad look, right? Get out of here, man. This is stupid shit right here. So, funny stuff. Talk about LA mismanagement. How's the cleanup efforts doing right now? At the permit, you got to get these special permitting and all this crap. They got to wipe away all these extra commissions and permitting and all these different things they got to do here to simplify everything in California. Everything is so complicated because they want you to pay for every little thing there is, and it's like it's bullshit, and it's like enough is enough, just like stop it already. These Democrats, they just want to tax you and just get you for everything that you got, all right? And so, I don't know. It's just crap to me. And I think people are starting to get over it. I mean, look at this right here. Gas prices climb in California while they fall in other states. You know why? I can tell you why. Because we have this special formulation of gas in California. There's a winter blend and a summer blend. And nowhere else in the United States has this special blend but California. Then, because they have to go through a special refinery process that only certain refineries can do in California, and then it's only distributed in California, and that's the reason why the cost is higher, because the cost of producing this special blends, to keep, the state clean of air and all that, where nowhere else in the United States has to deal with this. We got to deal with it, right? And that's the reason why gas prices are higher in California. I covered it. I actually did a video about gas prices in general and the process and why it costs so much. But just because we see these two females over here, I want to go take a look at this.
Great. The new GoDaddy Arrow has AI marketing tools to help smooth.
Those Bay Area gas prices, you probably have noticed it at the pump, a sharp spike in prices just over the past few weeks.
And Bay Area gas prices are up about 9% and climbing for the foreseeable future.
She's been doing it for years. She aged a lot. Like when she first came on, when I used to watch the news, let's just say, maybe 10 to 15 years ago, she wasn't looking bad at all, 10, 15 years ago. She was looking, like your blonde, milfy. But now she's aged, though. And then I'm thinking if this is the chick named Garcia, then yeah, she's looking good.
Future. KFV's Tom Bakar spending the day crunching the numbers, and he's live.
She's always had these nice naturals, on her. If that's Garcia, I'm not sure if that's Garcia or not.
For us now in Alameda, Tom.
It happened super fast, and it really is painful, more than you might imagine. The smart money shops at Mash Gas in Orinda, because a gallon of regular gas here is 63 cents below the Bay Area average.
I wait to come to this station specifically. So I could have filled up a few days ago somewhere else, but I'd rather do it here. They're also super nice here.
The cheap price make good relationship and trust between us and our customer. That's why they keep coming.
With an average Bay Area price of $5.12, why do people love Mash Gas and other discounters? Look over here. If you pay the credit price, you will save $8.68. If you pay the cash price, you will save a $10 bill. In checking the AAA's 7 major Bay Area regional markets, a gallon of regular grade is 52 cents higher than a year ago. Contrast that with Los Angeles at just $4.79 a gallon, 33 cents cheaper than the Bay Area, and get this, a penny less than Angelenos paid a year ago. Last Friday, California's Division of Petroleum Market Oversight, an independent watchdog agency that oversees the state's petroleum market, issued an advisory over potential gas spikes following the early February fire at the Martinez refinery, which cut a lot of the supply and lowered competition, which jacked up prices.
Yeah, because they use it as an excuse. There's no reason to...
Yeah, it's always an excuse, right? And how many refineries actually left California too, by the way? Because those could have been refineries that would have kept things in, decent supply and not have any supply shortages or anything like that when there is an actual fire, right? It is an excuse to raise prices.
Raise the price. It was just an excuse.
Corporate greed.
Yeah.
Lining their
not necessarily corporate greed. Well, part of it's corporate greed, but part of it's California greed too.
Pockets and not thinking of the everyday citizen that needs to gas up their car and get to places.
Nationwide, the average is $3.16 a gallon. That's 12 cents less than a year ago and $1.99 gallon less than the Bay Area. Gas prices bring up the controversial Trump card.
All of the things that the president is talking about, energy, will lower the cost
drill,
of everything.
Baby, drill.
It'll be coming down everywhere, including here, hopefully.
Our president promised us that he will lower the prices and everything. Day one, he said, day one, will lower the prices in gas, groceries. So
Come on,
disappointed that it's not happening.
Stupid bitch.
Now, the Martinez refinery sent out a statement that says the refinery will continue to be down for several more weeks, with occasional flaring to be expected. Now, what's happening for sure as spring approaches is we're getting ready for the switch over to the more expensive summer blends.
Blend, yeah.
That surely will also make prices go up.
And they got to get rid of that shit. See, this is the California bullshit, right? And that they put on us, just like how they try to force, the whole electric car mandates and no gas stoves and no gas water heaters and all this crap, right? It's just California definitely needs to be looked at, and I can't wait till Doge comes into California or Trump. Yeah, Doge, Trump, who cares? One of them coming to California and wipe this slate clean, because this is just straight up bullshit. Let me look at what Trump did in New York, all right? Let me pull that up. Check this out right here. This is what Trump did in New York over here.
It is amazing. It used to have a collagen, used to have a probiotic, a green
Before we
juice
cover this, so Kathy Hochul implemented congestion tax in New York, right? And this congestion tax is unavoidable. You go into Manhattan, you got to pay this sort of congestion tax to get in. And certain times you pay more, and then there's other times of the day you pay less. You go in, you go out. Let's say you kind of get, if you're doing deliveries, you got to come back in again. You're going to pay again and again and again, right? And supposedly it's supposed to help alleviate congestion. It helps with their metropolitan train system bullshit. And it's just another way for them to just tax people for nothing, just to take their money, right? Just like the stupid ass soda tax, right? That I just heard about today in Maryland. In Maryland, they're talking about a soda tax. We could probably talk about that in another video. And it's just bullshit, So let's see what happened here with this congestion tax, because it's unavoidable. It doesn't matter if you try to go different routes to get into Manhattan. Every little way to get in to this part of New York, you're going to pay the congestion tax. And it was purposely set up that way to make you pay. People are against it. They hate it. But they still pushed it anyway. The New York City or New York State government, which is Hochul, pushed this anyways. All right, it's bullshit. Because, again, Democrats like to spend with no accountability, and then when they are low on funds or out of shit, then we're their credit card and they'll just tax us more and be like, okay, we're good again. Fuck you, Hochul.
Yesterday, Sean Duffy, who's head of transportation, he sent a letter to Kathy Hochul.
He's in the news every day.
Yeah, we are ending the congesting pricing because it's so expensive to drive through Manhattan now. It can be $9 and more depending on if you have one of those little cards that gets you through the tunnel without, what is that called? The Easy Pass.
Yeah.
So it starts at $9. That's a lot of money if you're a cab driver. That's a lot of money if you're a doorman and you have to drive through Midtown and go to the Upper East Side to work for your building. And I've talked to a lot of doormen on the Upper East Side, and they're complaining about this because they're saying it's costing us so much more money to go to work.
So everybody's complaining about it.
No one likes it.
And no one at all.
Except
and so
for Kathy.
I was talking to Pearl. Pearl has never had a political.
Yeah, like Hochul also claimed that the subways are safe, even though there's a ton of crime and a ton of shit going on all the time. Even when that female got burned up in their train in the subway system there, got burned alive on the train, she still says, yeah, it's safe.
Conversation.
Yeah.
With
Fuck
me
out of
in
here,
the
you
makeup
bitch.
room.
Do you even know her last name?
Fontaine.
Okay.
I probably shouldn't have given it.
Yeah,
given
bought her
it out.
cowboy
it's almost like Madonna.
Yeah.
All you hear is Pearl.
It's just sweet Pearl.
He bought
Okay.
her cowboy boots for Texas Tuesday.
Yeah, because she has to be a part of it. Anyway, Pearl never talks about politics.
Yeah.
And the moment this came up on the screen for Fox and Friends, she goes, "What is wrong with her? What is like? No one in the city likes this." And I just feel like this is another one of those common sense issues, as you've been talking about, Ainsley, that you're giving Donald Trump and his administration another win. You're letting him have New Yorkers on this issue. No one is for this.
Well, yeah, she said the next time your train's delayed, the next time you're caught in traffic, blame Donald Trump. Here's what Trump put out yesterday, and look at the cover of the New York Post eventually. Congestion pricing is dead. Manhattan and all of New York is saved. Long live the king. President Donald J. Trump.
With a fake picture of Time Magazine.
He's making fun of him.
And you know who loves it? Governor of New Jersey,
Of
Murphy.
course he does.
He said, I've been trying
He's
to say.
a Democrat.
Right. He's like, thank you, Donald Trump. But listen to Governor Hochul, who symbolically walked through the subway dial.
Just terrible.
Yeah. Watch this.
President Donald Trump tweeted, "Long live the king." I'm here to say New York hasn't labored under a king in over 250 years. And we are we sure as hell are not going to start now.
Yeah.
We stood up to a king, and we won then. And we will,
Oh, yeah, you're revolting now.
in case you don't know, New Yorkers, we're in a fight. We do not back down, not now, not ever.
Yeah, so we're fighting for congestion pricing. Yeah, that's what she's saying.
Pay more.
Yeah.
We want to pay more.
She went on to say this message to us who live and work in New York. I don't care if you love congestion pricing or hate it. This is an attack on our sovereign independence from Washington. Well, you don't care if we hate it? You're our governor.
Well, and she's talking, in case you don't know, he's a New Yorker, okay? He's a New Yorker, and he just won part of your state. And so you would think that you want to reverse some of your decision-making in there if you're already losing some ground to Donald Trump in a heavily liberal place. I told y'all, I'm seeing people with MAGA hats in my gym. That never happened before.
He's fighting for New York now. I haven't talked to one person who's for this. Who would want to pay extra?
But she says she doesn't care anyway.
Right.
Exactly.
So here's the problem why it's a national issue. If congestion pricing works in New York, it's coming to a city near you.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Because they'll have another way to get revenue.
San Francisco,
What they did is, with these
LA.
easy passes, we no longer realize what the tolls are. You get hit by $9 to get into a tunnel.
Yeah.
Now I go across the city, another $9. Then if I have to park, because I drove, I'm paying $70 for the day, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, why am I going to the city? And the people of New Jersey, know what she said? Well, you have a choice. You don't have to work here. You idiot. You want people to work here.
So that's fine. Drive people away, and then if you don't want people to come in, all right, cool. Then you got nobody to work, and then what, right? You're gonna have people that eventually will have to close up business, move out because people don't want to keep paying for all this bullshit, the parking, the tolls, all this stuff, right? All this inconvenience is gonna drive people away.
You want people to come in and go to lunch and pay taxes. Right. You know, by the way, we're still paying city taxes. You two live here. I don't, but I'm still paying. So I don't
that's right, because for employment as well.
Yeah, it comes right out. To pay it?
Absolutely.
I just find it very elitist as well, telling people that they got to get on the subway when it's so dangerous on the subway. We watched a guy set a lady on fire and sit on a bench and just watch her burn, and people were passing by, didn't try to put it out. I mean, who wants to go on the subway for that? I just think it's wrong.
Subways are terrible anyway. It doesn't matter what city. Well, in the U.S., because I've been in subways in other countries and they're a lot cleaner, they're more efficient, they're fast.
Jamaica.
Here in the U.S., I haven't been on one subway where I'd be like, man, this is great. They all suck. I mean, they really do. Let's take a look at the reactions of this right here. See, you want to hear New York reaction to this? So let's take a look at your people of New York.
Congestion pricing or not, it is an indisputable fact that vehicular traffic below 60th Street in Manhattan has been down since January 5th when the program began. This is what the approach to the Lincoln and Holland tunnels looked like during the evening rush immediately after congestion pricing took effect. The question now, if the tolls are gone, will drivers and the gridlock return? Eyewitness News reporter Tanya Rivero live on Manhattan's Upper East Side with that quite numbers of our coverage tonight, and we're interested in this answer, Tanya.
Yeah, well, you know, there are a lot of questions to be answered right now. New Yorkers are really curious about what this directive is going to mean in the short term for them. We asked around, we found a variety of reactions, not only to the Trump administration's move today, but also to the tolling program itself. We found reaction to the potential end of congestion pricing to be a mixed bag here in the city. In the good riddance camp, Manhattanite Tim Allen.
I feel like it's like nickel and diming us. Like every little piece that we have, like the city's built on like the small people, and man, we're running out of money.
And dime the shit out of you.
And some cabbies who say they've been losing business.
Less people take a cab.
Have you noticed that?
Of course. Congestion price, not good.
This Uber TLC driver is ambivalent, but thinks more people will come into the city without it.
The TLC price, it doesn't affect. So for me, there's no difference.
Right. You don't care?
Yeah, I don't care.
In the keep congestion pricing camp, other cabbies, drivers, and delivery cyclists who appreciate the noticeably less traffic.
It's easier for us now.
It's easier for you to get around?
Yeah.
With the mask on your face.
Is good. It's good for everybody.
It's easy to close the city and go uptown and downtown.
If you had the choice, keep congestion pricing or get rid of congestion pricing?
Yeah, if keeping is good for the city, is good.
And while Allen would be thrilled to see the toll disappear, he wonders if the fee will just pop up somewhere else.
I think what we need to really take a look at is not us paying for all the money, but maybe the people who actually have money to pay for this.
Local and state lawmakers, also divided on the issue, are still formulating a response to Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy's letter to Governor Kathy Hochul today, saying congestion pricing is now a terminated pilot project.
This is extremely disappointing. Donald Trump wants to bring back the traffic, and I also think it's a little bit misguided. Right now, 6 in 10 New Yorkers don't want Donald Trump to overturn this program, and we've seen...
I would like to see that survey then, if that's what you're saying, 6 out of 10. I would like to see that. I think it's full of shit because elitists voted 6 out of 10, right? But if you look, to me, the everyday people, I don't think they want this congestion pricing. And in the long term, it's going to drive away business. It's going to drive away everything. All right. And so, but I guess the only way to tell is give them what they want. Maybe you should just implement it just to show that it's all bad. All right. In order to make change happen, in order to make people believe.
Incredible positive results.
Fuck out of here too.
Now, despite today's directive, there is no clear end to congestion pricing just yet. Of course, the legal battles are likely to ensue. So for now, drivers should be prepared to continue to pay the toll.
Of course. You know, they just barely passed the decision. It's going to take time for it to go into effect, unless there's some sort of litigation to it. This is bullshit. Yeah, this is crap, you know. we're here to fight Trump, man. We want to pay more, right? That's what the governor was saying. We want to pay more. Stupid bitch. The fuck out of here. And so yeah, it's just, I don't know, bullshit, bunch of crap. Let's see here. What else was I looking at? I was looking at something else here too. Let's see. We got that. I think, I wanted to talk about Newsom too. There was like a thing I wanted to talk about with Newsom, but I think I'm just going to hold it at that. I think I'm going to leave it at that today and roll with what I got going on, because you got just a bunch of idiots. All right, Hochul and Newsom, they're like neck and neck on who could be the worst governor there is in terms of just overspending, terrible priorities, and then they want to tax the hell out of you, nickel and diming you, just to make you pay more. All right, and it's just crap, And so, this stuff needs to end. And right now, all right, luckily, they've held off on this whole mandating, non-gas appliances in California and the electric vehicle mandate, because the special permits that Biden permitted, got revoked by the Trump administration. So those special permits for California have been removed to really just make us go straight to everything electric. Is gone, all right, for right now. And then we're going to see what happens from there. But yeah, it's just funny how terrible Democrats are, right? We looked at Karen Bass, DEI hire, terrible. You look at Hochul, terrible, right? She's fighting for you to pay for more, right? And it just goes on and on. It's just funny as hell. All right, and so this is, I don't know why this isn't sticking out to me. Bay Area teen rejected by 16 colleges, hired by Google, files discrimination lawsuit against the University of California. Let me just look at this. I'm just curious, what there seems to be more to this story.
Let's start with the eye chart.
What makes you think I can read?
You can talk, and you booked an eye exam
online. I gotta
online.
find out what the hell's going on.
Okay, good points. Get 2 pairs of glasses and an eye exam starting at just $89.95 at America's Best.
And then we'll end it with
You
this.
may recall the ABC7 story that went viral 16 months ago. A Palo Alto teen hired straight out of high school by Google as a PhD-level software engineer, yet he was rejected by most colleges he applied to, including 5 UC campuses, even with a 4.4 GPA and a 1590 out of 1600 on the SATs.
Damn.
Some of them were certainly expected, Stanford, MIT, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, for some of them, like Cal Poly, some of the state schools, I really thought, I had a good chance.
His name, Stanley Jong, and he and his father just filed a lawsuit against the University of California and the U.S. Department of Education. The Jongs allege that UC is engaging in racial discrimination in admissions despite the law banning the use of race in the process.
What? Right? Think about that. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they're not including an Asian here. Right? That's this is pre-law. And before that, you had, what was that other one? The one that predated diversity, equity, and inclusion. I always refer to it as Prop 209. But that got abolished too, because it's pretty much discrimination anyways, and so it's just interesting how just because of what he's Asian, I don't understand why this, if there was any discrimination to it, why he wasn't picked up for. I mean, if you look at his academics, right, and SAT scores, I mean, that's just should have been picked up nearly everywhere.
Joining us live now to talk about their lawsuit, Nan Jong, Stanley's father, and the co-plaintiff in this new lawsuit. Nan, thanks for being here. I'm going to start here. Why isn't Stanley joining us today?
Well, so he is facing a lot of pressure socially and in his social circle and in general microenvironment. Generally, there's a lot of hostility towards Asian Americans standing up for their rights in college admission, as witnessed in the SFA.
That sounds odd, though, right? What? I mean, this is supposed to be DEI, so what's going on here?
Just a horrible case. So yeah, I got a thick skin. I can deal with it, so I'm here.
Okay, I think everyone is pretty familiar with Stanley's story and his credentials, but one person's results don't prove a pattern or practice, right? Many high-achieving, brilliant students are qualified, yet rejected by the UCs. Do you have any specific evidence of racial discrimination beyond that Stanley was competitive on paper and got hired by Google?
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to prove in the court, and I think we have a good have a strong case to show there. First of all, in addition to Stanley, there are a lot of other Asian American students who actually contacted us about their college admission stories, how they're rejected by UC despite their outstanding qualifications, similar to Stanley's. So that is evidence number one. Evidence number two, that we have collected evidence that UC is using race in clear violation of the law in faculty hiring. And to the degree they're actually it's not only using it, but they're also, knowing it's illegal, they're also hiding the evidence of using it. So that's evidence number two. Evidence number three, we also look at some of the limited available public data, and there's a clear suppression of Asian enrollment despite the strong population growth in the Asian community in California.
You know, just because even if you could prove that in faculty hiring there is a racial consideration, can you necessarily draw a straight line to admissions? That is a totally different process, right?
That is a process we need to play out in the court. But the logic we're going after is that, hey, these guys know what they're doing and they know it's illegal and they're actively concealing it. So it's...
Yeah, I wonder what the rejection letter said as to why he got rejected. They can't, I'm curious because if your academics was a 4.4 GPA, that's like beyond A+, right? And if you're scoring a 1590 out of 1600 on the SAT, like I said, I mean, that's near perfect on the SAT, and I don't see how that would not be picked up in a lot of different colleges. I'm just wondering what the rejection letters were saying, you know, in terms of why he got rejected. There's to me, there's still something more to it.
Likely, we're not going to find anything that can put on paper saying we're going to do this. But we have seen this playing out in faculty hiring. And we are making the allegation that they're probably doing that in student admission as well.
This is stupid. This is stupid. I got to see rejection. I'm not going to do this stupid correlation of the faculty hiring is the reason why, and this can, correlate as to why the admission process is doing the same exact thing. Nah, I'm not playing around. This guy's a rube too, man. I'm out of here. All right. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. All right, this is just some bullshit. All right. So we see all this bullshit going on here with what's up with all this stuff. That's where it's at. All right. Hit me up. I'm on Rumble. I'm on YouTube. All right. Subscribe. Hit the bell icon as I have daily content on all this BS I like to cover. Other than that, thank you. I'll see you next one.